Hey everybody, how are you? I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I figured I'd just give you an update right now, what's been going on over the last several months with the outreach. And a lot of you that are familiar with my YouTube channel I've been telling you to go to the post section of things, and I'll put stuff up there. And a lot of you know that I've been going to not only just me, but our group has been going to three uh, locations in the city of Rochester to do outreach, to basically to love on people, to just to hear people, talk with people, share hope with them, and then meet their physical needs, right? Not just their spiritual needs, right? We pray for them, we share the gospel with them, but also like hand out clothing and food. You know, especially with the weather being really cold, we've been doing this. So I kind of want to dive in a little bit more and talk about the locations specifically and what we've been doing, and just encourage you. So maybe somebody here that's watching this that are wondering what are we doing, and and it kind of give you an idea of what we do, and also hopefully encourage you to maybe want to come out sometime. So anyway, we'll start with the first location, and that's we usually go on the first Friday. We do the Father's Heart Ministry. A lot of you have heard that ministry. It's probably one of the best ministries in Rochester. And you'll see I've posted pictures of Russ and Ann. They have the food truck. They go out and they really, I mean, to me, it's like one of the best ministries, but they go to different areas and share the gospel, pray with people, love on people, and hand out food and clothing with those people. So, several churches, they um, tie in weekly and help out. So there's a huge need even during Thanksgiving, handing out turkeys, things of that nature. And it's been very, very powerful. So usually with that location, we'll just go and hang out. And that one is more of, we kind of set up tables, okay? And Russ has everything. So we'll either meet at his location and we'll load up the truck, and whether it be supplies or whatever. And then when we get there, we set up pretty much all the tables, and then food, and just whether it be clothing and everything. There's like 10 or 12 different tables that we lay out. We put all the stuff out, and then there's a gospel message, always a gospel message. People have a chance to respond, and then also as they come through the line, we pray with people. We just love on them, hand out food and clothing, and it's pretty much a couple hours. And we try to do it throughout the year as it gets extremely cold. Um, we don't really go out, but the other two locations is done by another group. It's not something that I started, but this another person from one of our the church I go to. He started it, and I kind of felt over the last couple years, specifically, that I felt like I need to do something in my community and just somehow connect on a spiritual level. And just I knew something was kind of I don't know, I needed more. You know, going to church just wasn't really cutting it for me, because I mean we are the church, right? So I don't like to contain myself to a building. So I think back in the day, I just felt like, hey, I want to go to church and just check the box. And I think it was important at first as like a new believer, is you're learning and you're growing and you're meeting people. But then after a while, it's like, okay, what do you do with this knowledge? It's time to apply it and hit the streets and really do what Christ would do, right? He would be hitting the streets and meeting people right where they're at. So, um, two of the locations that we go to is Lyle Avenue, which we actually just went last night, and it was extremely powerful. I can't thank you guys enough for your prayers, because they have been felt in a massive, big way, huge way. So, what that's like for Lyle is we will meet at a parking lot, and we always start off in prayer as a group. And yesterday we had about 7 people. which is pretty good for this, for being cold. But we've had as much as 22 people in the summer with the 10th Hour Project. They're based out of New Mexico. Great organization as far as bringing these young kids and then hitting the streets. And I'll get into a little bit of that in a little bit. But I've seen most of the time of our group is between 7 to, I don't know, call it 13, 14 people. And so we'll get in the parking lot. And a lot of times I can't begin to tell you is, especially like Lyle Avenue in North Clinton, they see our cars pull up and it's amazing. They automatically, before we even leave the parking lot, they're coming up to us. And I have some amazing stories. I had this young girl come up and she was in tears and crying, and she's just like, and she's seen us. So we've built a relationship, and this is what it's all about, is building relationships. At first you're like, what am I doing? I don't even think I'm doing anything. I'm helping out. But you really are. These people do not forget you. So as we keep going back, we see the same faces. And this particular girl, she came out and just was bawling and says, I just want this Jesus. And we were able to pray with her, and she accepted the Lord. We just blessed her with clothing, food, and just what was huge is that one of the things earlier on I was talking about is we need more women to get involved, because as a male, it's hard for me sometimes to connect with a woman because I don't know what women are going through. And so it's important for women to connect with other women so they can talk more. And so thank God from all your prayers. Look, at more women have been coming and helping out and responding. And I think that's amazing. So again, we need the more, the merrier, the better. But it's amazing. So thank you for, again, your prayers. And so that was a really cool thing that happened, is that this girl just began to open and cry out, and just we were able to love on them. And then we just start walking down the street. So it's kind of like wherever the kind of Lord takes us. And so we'll walk, and it's as simple as like, hey, how's it going? Just we're part of this, like a church group. We're just walking down the street, and we're wondering if you guys need any prayer, or food, clothing. And so we have a cart, and we have like clothing and food, and it is amazing the amount of people. First of all, it's amazing how many homeless people in Rochester there are, and it breaks my heart, especially in this freezing cold weather. I mean, I seen hands blown up. Oh, it's unbelievable. As far as, oops, excuse me. And so it just breaks my heart as you see these people, and a lot of them, obviously drugs. It's the drugs in Rochester. I don't have to tell you. You just have to go down the street, and there's always somebody begging for money, begging for food. Um, and the drugs it's incredible in Rochester. So I will say Lyle Avenue and North Clinton are my absolute favorite places. Nothing against St. Paul. I like to mobilize. I like to go and talk and just hear. I just like to listen. I think there's a reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. He wants us to listen twice as much as he wants us to talk. And over the years, it's been amazing because I'm a talker. I like to talk. But I think over the last year or so, I just been trying to listen more. I think it's important to listen. Um, there is a need. So one of the things as we leave, we always feel filled. I mean, and you've seen us post stuff that drug houses were closing, um, buildings have been demolished, people have been coming to Christ. But we all have this guilt, like, okay, we come out of the field and we're like, man, we feel like we did great. Our souls got filled to the max. But it's like, where are these people going? It's like, it's just tough because they're homeless, you know. So this is where prayer comes in, and this is where I need your help, okay? Because we need more soldiers, we need more foot people. In the summertime, I was telling you about the 10th Hour Project and how we went with them. We went to North Clinton on a Saturday morning with the 10th Hour Project. We had over 20 people hitting, and I'm talking, these areas are very bad. Drugs, gangs, it's bad, okay? But as we go out, when you start ministering to people's needs, it's amazing that when people come up to you and said, wow, this is unbelievable. You guys are making a difference. This is not coming from my mouth. This is coming from the people that we're ministering to. All right. And it's funny because you think you're helping them, but really it's like you're doing a good deed, but it's like you're being filled. I can't explain it. It's the greatest feeling you'll ever feel. But I started to think, and I'm going, that's amazing, And this is the burden that I'm having, and I want to share with you because um, we have churches on every corner, and there's something wrong, okay? Because if the church is really operating the way it should be, it shouldn't be like contained to a building. And I feel like, again, I I feel like, what does our church have to offer over another church? And in reality, we're all in the kind of the same boat. And I feel like God said, go out and make disciples, right? I'm not. Please hear my heart. I'm not telling you not to go to church. I'm saying this is for the believer that's been more seasoned, that's been in the Word, that understands their mission. And I believe not everybody. I think people, there's a elderly, obviously they can't do what I'm doing, because of physical. So they can be back and be praying, okay? But if this is speaking to you and you're kind of like how I was, just sitting in the pew and just being like, there's got to be more than this. I mean, we're constantly, it's the, um, same thing over and over again. Um, you need to take action. You know what I'm saying? So I have a dream, like I have a vision, okay? And I want to share that with you because I believe I'm not one in making a wish and not telling it to somebody. I want to make a wish and tell it because I believe when you speak it, it comes to life, okay? And I believe writing it down is also a big thing, okay? I want to share this with you. This is from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and I'm reading out of the English Standard Version, so ESV. And Habakkuk 2, it's in the Old Testament. It says this, and the Lord answered, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not delay. And that's Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 through 3. And I share this with my kids, with my wife and whatever is, we did this, you write it down. So what this is saying is write your vision down and make it plain. So whatever you have in your life, and I say this with kids, especially my children, and you can do this with yours, is write it down. Like put it, if, and I'm talking even physical needs. So like whether it be, this is the perfect person I want for my life. This is, the job I want. This is the house I want. Um, write these things down. Now, of course, if it's God's will, he'll give it to you. All right. But I believe stepping out in faith and just doing it, in speaking it into existence, that it will come. And so my vision is, I really look back and seeing the 10th Hour Project with 20 kids, and I'm going, what if we had 300 people hitting the streets at once? Why can't churches, maybe a small group from each church, get together on a Saturday, Friday night, or whatever, whoever can, and meet and overtake these streets? And let me tell you, when there was 20 something kids, the light was just overbearing the darkness. And again, this is not coming from me, this is coming from them. This is what the people that were there, they were struggling, they told us this. They're like, just like a light is coming through here. And that's just with 20 kids. So I am going to share, that's my vision. And will you pray with me and consider, hey, something's stirring inside me. Again, how we go about it is we pray, we hit the streets, and it's like I'm talking to you. It's just having a conversation. I'm not, hitting them over the head and trying to sell them anything. You know what I'm saying? We've had people come up, torn, crying, um, and we cry with them. We laugh with them. We try to meet them right where they're at. We don't judge. Okay. Um, and then my goal is to get these people connected. And this is where I need help because I want this to come together. And it's just the beginning stages. We have to first deploy, go out, but we also need programs set up that we can take these kids. And this is my vision. I want to be able to share, good news and say, hey, do you want help? Because they got to want to have help. There's a lot of people that, they don't want help, but there's people that we run into all the time that says, I want it, I need it, I can't, I just don't have anywhere to go. And so it's where the heart is positioned, is that I would take, this is my dream. I would take them, okay, and there would be a bus that was staffed, right? And say, hey, you want help? Get on that bus right now. And so that bus would take you to a safe place for 24 hours. And it'll, like, maybe it goes to a house, um, where it's fully staffed with medical. Okay, now I'm dreaming. I'm telling you this. This is what's going on in my mind. And so this would be staffed with medical people. And from there, we would take them out and take them even out of the state. And this is where things like Teen Challenge was big, and they had an 80% success rate with drugs and alcohol program. Is they would take them out of the state and go into Pennsylvania, into the mountains. It's Christ-centered, and their body would be able a chance to do their detox because your brain goes through different cycles, and you have to break those cycles. Okay, and I'm learning more and more as I'm in the field, and dealing with things. I'm trying to think. A huge, huge thing I want to share with you is the fentanyl is absolutely through the roof. Okay, um, there's a drug they're putting in the fentanyl. It's called xylazine. It's a horse tranquilizer, and it eats their flesh. Okay, and so obviously you can't be touching people. We wear gloves and things of that nature, but you'll see people with, I've never seen this before. There's holes in their skin. It eats their skin right through their face, their hands, and it just eats away at their skin. It's called xylazine. It's like a horse tranquilizer. It's a laxative to them. Okay, that's huge that they've been putting in. So, um, so again, at Lyle Avenue, we just go down the street. We go up one side of the street, down the other, and we'll be in front of just houses, or people will come up to us, and it's, hey, how's it going, and just, start a conversation and just hear them and talk to them and give them, offer hope. We'll hand out Bibles. We'll hand out, again, drinks, clothing, jackets, gloves, whatever. And people are just blown away, that we're doing this. And it's been a great experience. North Clinton, I want to share a story with North Clinton, because North Clinton, um, we had a miracle happen. Basically, one of the guys that I've actually posted the picture. Um, I posted a picture that, there was a guy that was, heroin addict. And if you know anything about heroin, it's like it takes an act of God to get off this drug. Okay. So he came up to us, uh, and we ran into each other. He was coming off the street. We were kind of on the sidewalk, and then we just kind of approached him, and we started sharing, talking to him and sharing the gospel, and just, talking to him about life and this and that. He began to open up to us, and this guy was high, and obviously, but we just loved on him. In his heart, he was started to break down and cry. The grown man, right? And he started telling us about his life and his story, and we were just there with just hearing him out. and letting him just get it off his chest, And we began to pray and give him hope by sharing Christ with him. Well, we laid hands on him and we prayed. And he told us that he said, "What is happening to me right now?" He goes, "This fire is coming over my body, right? This fire is coming over my body, and I can't believe what's going on with me." He starts shaking, okay? And then his high was completely gone, and he couldn't believe it. So he says, "Give me your Bible, whatever." So we took it, and then we went on our way. Next month we come, and this is why it's so important. We keep hitting the same areas. We want to build relationships with these people. Well, he was going into a store. We kind of locked eyes, and we look at each other, and I'm like, "Hey," and then he came up to me in our group, and he's just like, he showed me his arms, and he had a haircut. He was completely a different person, completely set free. He said, "You see those cars over those cop cars there?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Last night, 4 people, they died." And we're like, "Oh man, you got to be kidding me." So what happened was, again, they're on the streets in the tent, and they had this drug, and it literally, he said within 2 minutes, it literally blew the insides of their body out. This drug that they took, it pretty much blew them up. And that's just the garbage they're putting on the streets. And the reason why there's such a heavy cop presence there is because of the 4 deaths that were there, and they had to shut down one of the camps. He showed me his arms. He says, "I'll never, ever touch this drug ever again in my life. I can't thank you guys enough." And it was like, wow. You know what? For one person, victory. Awesome. You know, to God be the glory. And so that's what it's like. I want to share that with you, encourage you that you may think, again, we walk up to people and just, I had one guy, he was shooting up, and I went right up to him and said, "Hey, look, put that stuff down, man. God doesn't want you doing that." And he began to just open up, and we talked and prayed. These are just miracles. I can't begin to tell you. There's so many. I don't want to take up too much time, but just know that every one of your prayers have been felt. It is draining sometimes coming off. Uh, you're filled with this emotion. You're going home to a house that's just warm, fridge filled with food, a loving family, and a lot of these people. I ran into one quick story on Lyle. I don't know why I went up to this person. He was pretty well dressed, but he was homeless, and I go, um, "Hey," and I go, I never asked this before, but I basically said, what did you do? Like, what was your what was your what did you do for a living?" And he looked at me and he just paused and he goes, I can't believe you're actually saying this to me. And I'm like, "Yeah, I normally don't ask this," but he said, "Basically, have you heard of Kate Beckinsale?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard of her." And he said, I've done videos and music videos for her movies, and I'm this huge, heavy metal rock star." And he's telling me, and I'm like, I said, I haven't heard of your name," but he told me the band and stuff. And he said, "I've toured the world," and he said, "By the age of 16, um, my son, he's going to be having all the money. I have it in a trust for him." And I'm going, I said, "Wow, what are you doing?" I said, "Man, your son needs you. Like, what?" I go, "Well, first of all, why Rochester? If you're going to be homeless, wouldn't you go to like Miami or somewhere warm?" He goes, "This is my home. This is where I'm at." And he told me his drug of choice was, um, cocaine and whatever. And I just prayed with him, and just, I prayed that God make these drugs ugly to them so that they don't want to do this anymore. Because his son, he needs a dad. And so it just, again, these stories right on the streets here in Rochester, it tears me up at what's going on. So again, there's a lot of death, but there's also, a lot of great things happening. And so I just wanted to encourage you. This is what's kind of been going on. We do this on Friday nights. And again, we hit these 3 locations. This is true and dear to me. And I want to share this vision with you because I believe the more you share it with people, who knows? I mean, people know people, and that's how things can happen. But you have to at least speak it into existence and believe with me, will you, for the city of Rochester to turn around, get these, clean up the streets, get the drugs, the homeless, get them out. It's not going to go away unless people, we start hitting the streets and doing it and helping, because it's just going to keep coming closer and closer into, you know, the suburbs, which there's tons of it in Pittsford and Greece. They're all over the place. One quick thing before I go, one thing I've learned and I want to share with you is so important is trafficking. I've said that the biggest pandemic was child trafficking in Rochester. It's been huge, and I believe it's even been tied to the Epstein case. Okay, that Rochester, New York. It's big. Rochester is very bad. But listen, something I've learned that I want to share with you that maybe you can help somebody, and we do this too when we're on the streets, because when we're walking, you know, especially in the summertime, there's prostitution that's happening, people getting trafficked. That's huge. So when you see somebody, okay, it could be in a car, it could be in the mall, it could be anywhere in the workplace. Well, not so much the workplace, but let's just say on the streets, that when you see someone put their thumb here and go like this with their hand, that means basically they are being trafficked and they need help. Call 911, get their driver's license plate, whatever it takes. But I just want to share that with you. It's the thumb in and 4 fingers out. When you see that, that means they need help. And that's their way of saying, I need help, call for help. So be blessed, be encouraged. I think 2026 is going to be a dynamic year. And I'm just praying for you and your families, and just continue to pray for health, and for safety. I really appreciate everybody. Again, I'd like to maybe start up some of the interviews again. We'll see how it goes. It's been really busy with work and with other things that's been going on with family life. So I love you all. Be blessed and enjoy this year. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.